So the first thing I would like to say is I just appreciate you guys taking some time to have me come today. Coach, I appreciate you having me come in and just kind of talk to everyone. The first thing I would like to just get like a little piece of introduction from you guys before I kind of dive into everything for myself. So you guys can just tell me your first, last name, your career that you're trying to get into, what you're doing in school, and then in sports. And if you want to tell me anything other than that, that's more than welcome as well. Okay, so I'll probably start from this side of the room.
So I'm Katie Turcott. I'm a first-year student. I'm planning to go into athletic training, and I'm a figure skater.
Perfect. Okay.
Juan Torres Jr., exercise science, and soccer.
Ooh. Okay. You play soccer here too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm Evan Baden. I'm a criminal justice major, and I play lacrosse.
Nice.
My name is Tobias Marino. I'm a freshman. I'm an exercise science major, and I'm playing baseball.
Okay.
My name is Zach Evanko. I'm an exercise science major and play baseball.
Okay.
I'm Maya Soto. I'm a sophomore. I play basketball here, and my major's exercise.
So you know my girl Jordan?
Jordan, which one?
With the bad ankles.
Oh, that.
Yeah, freshman girl. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Farrell,
There's two with bad ankles.
Pretty good top too. I know. That girl done had so many surgeries already. It's crazy.
So you know Rookie too? You know Rookie?
Rookie? No, I don't.
No?
You probably know a different name or something. All right, here you go.
I'm Lauren Wilkes. I'm a junior. My major is exercise science. I'm an athletic trainer, and I play lacrosse here.
Money. How about yourself?
I'm Ariel Costanti. I'm a freshman. My major is exercise science. I want to go to physical therapy, and I play lacrosse and field hockey.
Perfect.
I'm Keeling DeFarnos. I'm a senior here. I'm a special ed major, and I play lacrosse and field hockey.
So, thank you guys for your introduction. Sounds like a lot of athletic careers are going on here. Okay, so I'll start by introducing myself a little bit, and I'll tell you guys a little bit about my journey. And then we can kind of just have like an interactive conversation as we go from there, right? So my name is Dominick Spaulding. A lot of people just call me Coach Turbo. I grew up in Jamaica. I came here, went to Conard High School, where I was a 2-3 sport athlete, and I graduated, went to Mount Ida, played football there. I got every accolade that you can get in the book. Player of the Year, All-American, New England Writer, all academic 4 years. I was a runner-up my senior year for the Golden Boot Award in D3. Yeah, I just really got like every accolade that you can possibly think of, from academic and athletic. After that, I had a tryout with the Cardinals, Miami, and the Steelers for football in the NFL. It didn't really too pan out because I had a bad left injury that I was dealing with from college. And in college is where like a lot of my like initiatives for what I do now kind of start. So I'll tell you a little bit about after college, and I'll revert back and kind of just try to put the pieces together. After college, I had my tryouts. Then I played played arena football for about 2 years after my NFL stint didn't kind of work out. Then my third year going into arena football, I broke my foot. So I'm a big person of like things leading into another thing. Right, so I never really dwell on like something happening right then and there. I just try to figure out kind of what's next. So I broke my foot. I was really devastated, but I leveraged it into being like a 21, 22-year-old strength coach. So after that, one of the owners from the Arena Football League reached out to me, asked me if I wanted the job to be a strength coach, and then I became the strength coach for a football team in the National Arena League up in Worcester, Massachusetts, called the Massachusetts Pirates. So they play in the DCU Center. So I did that for about 2 to 3 years. We won this nice championship ring here. I would have brought another championship ring that I won in college, but I gave me lost the thing, okay? Right, so I got to order another. So I got that. Probably touch a lot of like your favorite NFL people, if a lot of you guys like watch football in here. So I dealt with guys from SEC, P5, any conference that you can think of, ex-NFL people, CFL people, current NFL people, etc. Right? Because you go down and go up and kind of move up and down the ranks. Did that for about 2 to 3 years, and while I was doing that, I was also interning with the Patriots strength and conditioning under Brian McDonald. So he basically taught me damn near everything I know about strength and conditioning, right? So I seen Brady, seen Gronk, shook all those dudes' hands, the McCoy twins, all those dudes, right? So really good 6 months of like intensive work to learn strength and conditioning, the body, nutrition, and essentially what I do today. After that, I created my own business, which is called Turbo Academy. So Turbo Academy is a sports performance platform where I do athletic development for all ages, all sports. I'm also a track certified coach, a speed certified coach. I do nutrition, mental health, and basically everything under that athletic development umbrella. I do general population training as well. And I do a lot of prehab, rehab, and return to play protocols for sports, right? Because obviously you got regular rehab and then you have sports rehab, right? Return to play protocols. And then I have a stake in a company called Oasis, which is an alkaline water company. Right? I'm running a couple gas stations around the area. We do business all around the area and things like that. So, for me personally, on the path that I took with being a strength coach right now and being the owner of a business, it really started with me being in high school, right? Like I love lifting weights, right? So I just kind of lifted all the time. And I was really strong, right? I got blessed with good genes, right? So I was a really strong kid, bro, like really strong. I was a 2,000 pound club lifter, right? So 700 pound deadlift, 405 clean, right? 335 press, 2,000 pound club lifter, right? When I got to college, I thought that I wanted to do a little bit more with it, right? So I started to try to put pieces together, right? So then I teamed up with my head athletic trainer who taught me about the body. I wanted to know how the body functioned at first, the anatomy, when injuries happen, how to rehab, etc. Like a base level, right? Before I get into like training. So I understood how the body worked. I understood like the basic necessities of like coming back from injuries, rehab, and whatever it may be. And then I started to shadow him as he started to train like different teams and stuff like that. And then it piqued me even more because I went to a D3 school. We didn't have a strength coach, right? So our coach gave us some lift. I love him to death, but power cleaning, squat, and benching all in the same day is a lot. Imagine doing that 3 times a week, right? So my body was kind of beat up by the time I was at my sophomore year, right? So I started training myself. I started writing my own programs. Started training, doing all this type of weird stuff, like crazy stuff, but I was going back and forth with my head athletic trainer, like running back and forth with him, see like, does this make sense, et cetera, et cetera. So it started to work out. And then my junior year, I had one of the best years of my life. I was lifting with linemen, running with running backs, and I was doing the same thing on the field. Like I was so big, fast, and strong. It intrigued my interest a lot more. So I wanted to get better at learning how to train as an athlete and learning how to keep myself healthy, which is what I did. So I sought information from different people. My head coach, athletic trainer, and any resources my athletic trainer had, he would share them with me, right? So I'm a huge knowledge junkie, right? So I love just learning, right? And I've always been like that. And I think that's what gives me an edge amongst a lot of people within my industry today, right? I just know stuff like a lot of people don't know. Right, just because like I just love information, right? I like reading, I like listening to podcasts, but I like learning more. So my value goes up, but my product is a better service for you when you come into it, right? And as I started to develop that, when I got into my years of trying out for NFL teams and with my hamstring bothering me, and I ran a 4.5 with a bad hamstring, right? At 270. Right, that's pretty fast. For like a dude 270 running a 4.5 with a bad hamstring, right? But I ended up getting held back by it, and I ended up getting blessed. When I tell you guys I'm blessed with the opportunity that I had to be able to intern under somebody like Brian McDonough from the Patriots. No cosigns or nothing like that. I got hired by the arena football team, I think beginning of summer. The month after that, I had a meeting with Brian McDonough. So at 21, 22, I basically had to present a training program to a dude that's been doing it their whole life with professional athletes, just to make sure that I'm not about to mess up the athletes that I'm about to be working with. So, accumulation of time and experience made me put together like a 30-page training program, which obviously you know like 30 pages is a lot for a training program, right? Right, especially for a summer. So I was really nervous, but I knew that I had something on my hand because I was really detailed in how I put the program together in sections, right? And I segmented everything, right? My brain just works like that. I'm really creative and innovative, but like certain things just I think I'm a really thinking outside of the box person, right? So I created a 30-page program, and I had my meeting with the Patriots, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I was super nervous. I walked in there, I said, Brian, this is the program that I have for the dudes that's coming in. He looked at me and he said, yo, this is fucking foolishness. This is absolute trash. But the next thing that he said was, this is absolutely amazing because I have people that went to school for this and don't even put this much detail, thought, and integration into a program. I went to school for business administration and I minored in psychology. I didn't go to school for sports science. Right? I didn't go to school for exercise science. I learned all this after. So after we had that conversation, he was like, man, this is trash, right? But I love the effort that you put into it. We're gonna write out the program together. So that's what we did. We wrote out the whole season together. And then throughout the whole season, he just literally held my hand and guided me to where I needed to go. So at the end of the day, those experiences that I've built with coaches in the D1 realm, nutritional realm, anatomy, prehab, and everything like that, they allow me to be the person that I am today, right? But the big thing that I always controlled was my work ethic, my attention to detail, and how I attack something. Because I attack things aggressively, right? But not more so in a wild way, but I attack it very intuitive, and I attack it from a point where nobody else really looks from. So it's always gonna be like a different perspective when I bring it to you. And I think that's really a big point, especially as young people like you, trying to find your way in what you're trying to do, right? Bringing something to the table that people won't necessarily say they want, but they'll tell you that they need it, right? And that's a huge thing to have. Being able to bring value to the table. What else can you do that nobody else is doing? What else can you bring to the table that nobody else is doing? So I wanted to be someone that I knew, and I've been said it since I was 18, that I'm the best strength and conditioning coach across the East Coast. Not because like, I think that I'm better than you or better than anybody else, but for me personally, like I am the best. There's no questions asked. We can talk about it, but I am the best, right? And that's just me. If you feel a certain way about that, that has everything to do with you and nothing to do with me, right? So being someone that I was aggressive with my mentality, I was an information junkie, and then I really had great work ethic, so that put me in places where a lot of people just couldn't go. So after my stint with my arena team and everyone as such, I moved back to Connecticut, where I am now in conjunction with my man right here, Steve. We're putting together a nonprofit where I'm trying to build a sports performance wellness center. Right? Revolutionary. No one ever done something like this before. We have strength and conditioning, mental health, nutrition, and recovery modalities all under one roof. So being able to express an idea like this, but also to bring it to life, it's a lot of loopholes that we're gonna have to jump through. There's a lot of people that we're gonna have to meet with. We're gonna have to network and try to bring some things together, right? But so far in the journey, it's been a beautiful process, right? Because at the end of the day, we know mental health is a dire thing that we need on a day-to-day basis, especially for kids growing up, right? A lot of you in here probably need some type of mental health, right? You would love to have somebody that you can freely talk to about stuff on a week-to-week basis, that you don't get the judgment, right? They just tell you, yo, talk, and I'll give you some feedback on how you talk. You would feel a lot better, right? So we're trying to create a safe haven space that, let me see if I get it right from what we said the other day. I want to be able to bring out the skill sets in kids while curating their mental health so that I can help the trajectory of their life while I'm helping them with all the other segments. So if I can keep kids engaged by showing them how to lift and run, sprint, jump, throw the right way, have fun with it, and then I teach them how to eat so you can get the body composition that you want, but also just be healthy, right? Then I show you how to recover, stretch, yoga, right? Different ways to recover, right? If I take care of your mental health, right? Your social functioning, your social support, lifestyle habits, et cetera, and put that under one roof, now we got something cooking, right? Because it's not just a segment of the development now we're trying to touch on all bases. So we're educating, we're giving you power, and we're showing you how it's supposed to be done, right? And we're trying to just break that cycle, right, of people not having information and resources available to them that's so direly needed. And at the end of the day, I just want to be somebody I wish I had growing up. And that's the biggest thing. So with that information, I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance and an opportunity, because that's all it is, right? If I can put you in a position where I can give you stuff that you need, I'll give you a chance to have opportunity. Right? And I think about it this way, with the program that I'm building, not to get too much insight into it, if I touch 500 kids a year and I save 300 of them, I just did a major impact on a town. If I touch 500 kids in total in a year, but I saved, changed, altered, or did something in them, I just changed the whole landscape of a whole town. Right? When they go to school, they have better critical thinking, they have better emotional maintenance, they have better communication skills, right? So now teachers won't have to waste time on a lot of things that they have to waste time on, right? Now I have a hand in that process, right? That's something that no one is doing. And I've had results for years where I've got people bigger, stronger, faster, and more healthier as athletes up until this day. I've had 2 major injuries since I started training, since I was 18. And I done touched over 1,000 athletes from 1-year-old to however many old whenever they stop playing. All right, 2 major injuries. One was a major ACL blowout, and the next one was just like basically like hamstring pull. Any kid that I kind of touch, I make sure I give them the attention to detail. I make sure I teach. I make sure I show them what it is that you need to be doing, right? We can always have fun, but we got to keep it engaging. We got to make sure the information that we're putting out there is information people can actually use. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me and what I do to turn them on. I hear a lot of you wanting to go into sports careers. And I can tell you a little bit from my end about the sports careers and how I hope I can give you some information on how you go about your sports careers, right? Obviously, you guys know that sports is a very saturated industry, right? So the big thing I always try to tell people, with me being a private sector coach, obviously you have public, which is college, high school organizations, and private sector is just you kind of doing your own thing. If you would like to go into public sector, make sure you have something that stands out about you, right? Something that makes people want you to come into their program, that you're an asset and you bring value to the program. Because obviously we have the job and we have the job description, but what do you do outside of that that makes you a really valuable asset for the people, right? What is 2-3 things that they talk about you that like, yo bro, nobody else can do it, but I love that you do 1, 2, and 3. Value, right? Bringing value to the organization, bringing value to the staff, and bringing value to the athletes that you guys are going to be working with. That's big, right? A lot of you guys see the Deion Sanders like debacle going on right now. You see how much value he's bringing everywhere, right? God damn, spring football at Colorado have not charged for spring football in 7 or 8 years. They charged one time and it had amassed how much money they made in the last 7 or 8 years for the program. Impact and value. And that's just what it is, right? If that's something that you can't scale or get up to, maybe it's not gonna be the right thing for you, but you gotta compete. You gotta compete and you gotta go into it understanding that like, yo, I do this better than everybody else. Right? I can do this better than everybody else. Because everyone is gonna be able to have the same skill set within the job, but what can you do to bring extra? What can you do to bring more? And what can you do to really just bring value to what you're doing? So every day when you wake up, when you go to your work, they're gonna appreciate you being there. And if you can't do that in the public sector, go try and do it in the private sector. Right? So the biggest thing is just value and work ethic and like be an information junkie. I promise you, like it won't do you a disservice because The only thing about being information junkie is bad is that you just know a bunch of shit that other people don't know. I'm sorry that I just cursed, but obviously we're all like kind of older here, right? So it's just knowing stuff like a lot of people don't know, right? And having those conversations will let you know how much there is a gap in what people need to know. Right? Having those conversations, it puts you in a business sense where, okay, they don't know this, I can add value right here. So as you develop through your years, for your 4 years, your 2 years, your 3 years, whatever you're here for, just understand a lot of things are gonna be in your control and a lot of things are gonna be outside of your control, right? Control what you control and you just keep it rocking and you keep it ripping, okay? You gotta make sure you have a plan. Right? Planning is serious. Make sure you have a calendar to keep track. Right? Network with people. Come up to places like this, sit up here and talk with people. Right? Build that quality and skill about yourself. Go and talk about what you do or what you're trying to do. Right? Get the word out there. Because there's 10 million people that's trying to do what I'm doing right now. So what am I really doing to stand up? Right? At the end of the day. Your industry is very saturated. So understand, right? And I know you've been through it. You may apply and not hear back from nobody. Right? You may apply 30 jobs and not hear back from nobody. But what are you gonna do in the meantime while you're not hearing back from nobody? Right? Am I keeping busy? Am I getting ready for that call back? So if they call me back, I'm already ahead of them hiring. That's how you gotta think. Like, if they call me back today, I'm more than ready for that interview. But I'm gonna just keep doing what I need to do, and I'm not gonna dwell on waiting back for that call. But if they call me today, man, I swear to God, bro, they gonna hire me right here and then. I swear to God, bro. If they call me today, they hire me. That's how you gotta think. That's how you get the edge. That's how you compete. Right? Because you can't be normal, bro. You cannot be normal. Right? If you're normal and average, that's the results that you're gonna get. That's what's really it. If you're normal and average in your work ethic, how you go about things, that's the result that you're gonna get. So going up and beyond is something that you should try to practice, but also just gain a lot of information on what you want to get into. Right? I can sit here and talk to you about athletic training. I can sit here and talk to you about strength and conditioning. I can sit here and talk to you about track training, movement for sports. I can talk about anything in the realm of sports. Anything. It's not like some people where they just do football. I can talk to you about lacrosse movement. I can talk to you about soccer. Talk about everything. Being multifaceted gives you the ability to do more, right? And don't get caught in one box. Because when you limit yourself, you do yourself a disservice. So, I really want you guys, and this is like literally my go-to quote that I literally say to everyone. Literally everyone, kids, adults. If you guys don't get anything from what I say today, here's my 1% rule, right? And I say this all the time. I'm doing a strength and conditioning program over at Condon High School, and I do it for a couple schools. But I always say this, right? If you started on January 1st, and you only got better 1% a day, what's that math at the end of the day? What's that math at the end of the year? If I got 1% better a year from January 1st to December 31st, what's that math? 365, right? Say a lot of problems. You know the answer, right? 365, right? So I just went over 100% 3 times, and I'm on my way to 400%. So if you did 1% of work to get better every day from January 1st to December 1st, now I just amassed 365% in progression. Don't you think that's a lot of progression in 1 year? That's a lot. And that's just doing 1%, bro. That's doing literally 1%. If you did more than that, you're cooking. You're literally cooking. But let's be realistic, right? You might get 1% one day, you might get 10% one day, the third day you might get -20. The big thing to do on the next day is to come back with a 1%. Right? And you keep your 1%, because at some point you're gonna get back into that positive connotation. right? Like, we'll be realistic, right? Because it's not just, okay, I'm gonna progress for 6 months straight. Yeah, it could happen, but this is life, bro. You might progress for a month, and then some crazy stuff happens that throws you all off your pivot. 100% of life is how you react to things. So if you react negatively, it's gonna 10 times the reaction. If you react positively, it's gonna 3 times it. So 100% of whatever you face in life is how you react to it. So your percentile depends on how well you react to things, because that's your most dependent resource of how you progress every day. Because there's some people, right, as soon as something bad happens, they just shut down. Right? And what does that really do by just shutting down? Nothing, right? Because we're not solving the problem, we're not working towards the problem, we're just living in gray space. Right? But if something happens and I take a moment to be a human, I let my emotional kind of course go by, right? I'm upset, blah, escape, right? I never tell people to not be human, right? Because that's important. Something happens, take a second and process it. Like, we're all human, it happens to me. I take a second and I process it, and then I just start to think, all right, what do I need to do to go forward? Right? Because I'm gonna let my emotions take its course. I'm gonna get sad, might get mad, right? I might need to go for a job, I might need to go to the weight room, right? Clear my head. After that, bro, we're back to business. Back to business. So if you start at January 1st with 1%, and at the end of the year you did 365%, you done beat everybody that's around you. I promise you. You done beat everybody around you. You done made progress more than anybody in the world, just by living through that. 1%. You do that per day, and that accumulation by the end of the year, compound interest, right, you're way further than you thought you were going. Just by working and controlling what you can control. So if you don't get nothing else from what I said, I hope you guys hear that 1%. Because that's how I live. Right, 1% every day. If I get more than that, I'm freaking cooking. Right, if I get less than that, I'm still cooking. Right, we gotta keep working. You gotta be an information junkie. You gotta have work ethic. And you gotta just wanna compete. You guys are in sports. Sports entertainment competition. That's like all you need to know. It's for entertainment and it's for competition. Those two words should give you everything that you need to know about where you're going to. And if you guys are in the space where you want to do something like that, ask the personnel questions, right? Get under somebody, right? If you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, and you want to be an AT, who's the first person you probably should go talk to? An AT, right? Boom, right? Like, it's really that simple. And then they can, you put pieces together. Because at the end of the day, no one's gonna come and save you. No one's gonna come and say, yo, bro, here's $1 million. No one's gonna come and say, yo, here is this. So you have to build your path, you have to redirect your path, you have to have vision, and you have to just have the want and need to be able to impact people. You have that want and need to be able to impact people, like, you will get blessed. It may take some time, it may take a short period of time, it may take a really long time, but you're gonna get blessed. So those are just like your really important things. Being in your industry that you guys are just gotta take into account. Because you're not gonna be at USJ for more than 4 years, right? 5 maybe. But after that, real work starts. Don't wait till you get there to try to do some of the stuff that I'm talking about now. It's not gonna work out how you think it's gonna work out. Don't be reactive, be proactive. So, that's just 30 minutes of just me giving you guys a little spiel. So if you guys have any questions on what I talked about, any questions about the industry, I've been all over, so you guys can shoot questions about kind of anything, right? I've worked with NHL, track, basketball, G League, football is the main sport, lacrosse, any kind of industry, okay? So I'll leave it up for about 5 to 10 minutes of questions, and then we'll just come to a little bit of a conclusion, okay? So if you guys have any questions, I would definitely take some. And if you guys don't have any questions, that's also okay too.
So when you started your business, did you notice that there was basically more you focusing on managing your business instead of you doing what you love and training in the gym? So like, is there more paperwork that, you know?
So when I started the business, I was really simplistic, right? Like I knew how to get it off the ground, going through CT Gov, registering with Secretary of State, but I created a system that works for me. So from people reaching out for a session, to me calling them, talking about things, to telling them about the pricing and packaging and how we can work things out, then me sending over like an online like DocuSign for contract liability and everything like that. Like I made it really simple because I learned that beforehand. Like I learned about being in the business before I was in the business. So writing the business and bringing it up to code, registering it with CT, getting my tax ID, like basic paperwork stuff, and knowing how to like just save that stuff, like I knew about that beforehand. And then I made it so simple that like, if you inquire for training today, like we can do everything within like 15, 20 minutes. Like I hop on the call, talk, we'll talk about like what you're looking for, injury history, sport, time availability, frequency, then I send you over a contract, boom, 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 we're done with, we find availability for how many sessions that you have, boom, 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 and we're done. So making it KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. Right? So if you feel like you're overcomplicating things, like take a second so your brain can like debacle a little bit, right? Break down, and then just try to keep it as simple as possible, because you gotta remember, right? We're in an age of phones and people love simplicity. So if they go anywhere and like there's a wall up, their brain can't function, they're gonna go away from the service. That's like, right, if you guys go to like Fashion Over and then there's like, you buy like $100 worth of things when you go to checkout and there's something wrong with the checkout, you probably won't exit right away, right? Because there's some type of malfunction going on there. So simplicity is like the biggest thing I would say. Simplicity, like make it simple as possible, right? And then as you get better at it, you can add different dimensions. But keeping it as simple as, it's like, from the customer reaches out to you, you want to lead them like water until the last part. Anytime there's a blockade, obviously blockades do happen. You got to know how to overcome those, but you want to make it so simple that like you're just literally walking them through the process. Good, right? Good question. Anybody, did I answer it a little bit? Okay. Anybody else?
For sports rehab, how do you help with like the mental side of an injury?
So sports rehab is big. So I'm actually a person that I always use for an example. I have a bad left knee, right? My kneecap is literally not in the right place. So my kneecap is literally like way higher up than it needs to be. I had a bad patellar tendon surgery. So the first thing with sports rehab is, there's a lot of different ways, right? There's a lot of different ways, but for example, if I had like a dude that just first came out of like ACL surgery or something like that, obviously we gotta build comfortability in the range of motion first, right? Then after that, I would build hypertrophy around the range of motion, right? So now you get stronger through the range of motion, and adding that muscle to that area that atrophied a little bit. Then after that, as we progress through those things, we get more dynamic with our movement, right? So now we'll get more relatable to the sport as we get stronger and improve function and range of motion strength, right? Because that's the biggest thing, having full range of motion and strength, right? Building back that structure and how it was prior. The second thing is getting people comfortable, right? And that's like a big, big thing, right? The mental part of like, for me, right, is just really even just being able to do this. Like I was scared of shit just to do that when I just came out of surgery, right? And it's just one of those things where we progress really, really slow. A lot of feedback and communication between me and the client, and trial and error sometimes. Because sometimes we may do a drill that like they have pain with, but I may have to regress and go back to something where they have less pain with, and then I can go back to that drill where now they don't feel as much pain, so I just boosted their confidence a little bit. So the biggest thing in building back that mental health for me was just making sure that people are comfortable with movements that they're scared of. ACL people, they're scared of shit at coming, right? They're scared at it. So building up a training program where we would implement from low yardage to high yardage in a couple of months of like doing sports specific stuff. So we'd start like really, really low yardage of just basic 45 degree, 90 degree, or whatever kind of is. As soon as you're comfortable with that, right, I'm gonna have to give you a little bit more, right? Give you a little bit more until you might go to a part where it's like, I can't handle that yet, so we might have to regress. So 2 things, trial and error, and just making sure people are comfortable with the movement that they're scared of. And that just takes time, right? Because the body is a really intricate piece of, like it's a really intricate computer that works in like a really variation of different ways, right? So the biggest thing is just comfortable movement that they're scared of, building range of motion strength, and regress when you have to, right? Because like anytime you get surgery, I always tell people this, and I came to the determination, right? Like it's lifelong maintenance after that. It's not just you go to PT and then you're good. Nah, bro, like it's lifelong maintenance. You gotta do that every day, every other day for the rest of your life. So you gotta get people to even understand that part, right? So comfortable with your movement. I'll get you comfortable with that, you're gonna have more confidence. And then, right, just building that range of motion and then just comfort, bro. Comfort. Right? Are you coming back from an injury?
No, not a complete injury, but we've had a lot of kids on our team, so I've been interested. A lot of shoulder injuries
Yeah,
on the
man,
team.
tell me now, get combined. I'll talk about strength and conditioning. I met your strength coach too. He got the glasses. I forgot his name.
Coach Jones.
Yeah, Coach Jones. Yeah, that's my dude. Yeah, that's my dude. So I can definitely come by and talk about like a workshop, how I go about injuries and stuff like that. But it's very intricate, bro, because injuries are independent to whoever it happens to, and everybody's body's a little bit, it's different, right? So doing drills that build up confidence through range of motion, strengthening, and then adding dynamic movements onto it. Once I can check off a lot of those boxes, I know that your structure is being built back well. Did I answer it a little bit?
Yeah.
Anybody else for a question? Perfect. So, if you guys don't have any other questions, I just want to say I really do appreciate everybody just taking like your class time out of the day just to hear me come and talk, right? Understand this, like everybody in here, you guys are super valuable, right? No matter what anybody else says outside of here, whatever perception people may have of you, like that shit don't mean nothing. Go out there and perform. And if you don't perform well, be a human, sit down on it, and then think about how could you be better. And that's all it is, right? Because if you sit and dwell, we're not doing nothing, right? So sit, ponder on it, be a human, right? Like be upset, right? But after you're done being upset, right? All right, let's get back to work. That's how you're gonna progress in life, right? That's really how you're gonna progress in life. So again, I appreciate you guys. If you guys would like to follow me and see all my training on Instagram, my @ is Turbo Spaulding. You're gonna see a bunch of training stuff on there. You're gonna see a bunch of training on there. Okay, so my Instagram is Turbo Spaulding. If you guys have any questions, you can shoot me a DM, and then we can just go from there. So again, thank you guys for your time. Coach, thank you again.
Yeah.
Yo, you better bring the win home today. If not, bro, don't come back here, okay?
Oh, sorry.
All right, so thank you guys again, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome, man.
And
You're
if
welcome.
anyone has questions, we have to talk, like,
I can my email too.
oh yeah, perfect, you want to,
I'll get it off.
even if you just text me.
Yeah, I'll text it to you.